guys, in today's video I'm going to be talking about one of our first literature unit studies for the book Matilda that we're going to be using this homeschool year. So if you've been around my channel, you may have heard me mention that for this upcoming homeschool year I purchased 8 different literature guides. So we really like doing different unit studies. I like doing like literature guides for books that we're reading together. Last year I used a lot of stuff from Moving Beyond the Page and I liked it, but I just needed to see what else was out there. So I ended up purchasing 8 completely different curriculums of unit literature guides. So I'll be doing a review video on each one. The first one we decided to use this year for the book Matilda, and the literature guide we purchased is from Classroom Complete Press. It is called a literature kit. They are these bright yellow colored unit guides. You only need one. There's not like a separate teacher student edition. The one I bought, I got it off Rainbow Resources. It was around $8.95. It has like some teacher notes in it. It has some student like pages that you can like copy and print out, and when I first received it I had really high hopes. I will be 1000% honest, I thought out of all 8 literature guides that this one was going to be my favorite, and it's not. So let's go back, let's start from the beginning, let's talk about this literature guide. It is about, let's see, 40 pages, and then you have like the teacher's guide at the back. So when I first was trying to pick literature guides, I really only had, I'm saying only, but I feel like I only had like a few requirements. Like I don't feel like I was being crazy. I wanted discussion questions and answers. Most of the time I'm sitting there when my kids are reading the book, but I zone out a lot for whatever reason. And 2, sometimes I have to get up and walk away. I work full time, and so they're independent. They can handle reading on their own. So I'm not always there sitting and listening to the book. So that's why I really do like discussion questions. It makes me make sure that they're reading on track. We can talk about the book without me having to read it. So Moving Beyond the Page did a fabulous job with that. And I thought when I got this that they also would be doing a fabulous job. However, it's more, there are questions after the chapters, but they're not like good discussion questions. They're kind of weird questions, or they're questions about something completely else, like asking your kids to like go research something else. And like, that's not what I'm looking for. A lot of the questions also are like, they're just not discussion questions. They're looking for like a specific answer. It's like they're trying to like provoke thoughts, but they're not really. They're not like really interesting questions. I don't know. I don't know what it is, but I just was not liking the questions. And they're not really, because they're not really good discussion questions, the answers are like okay that it provides, or it's like provides one answer but there could be like 10 different answers. So that's kind of stuff. One of my requirements was to have discussion questions with answers. Yes, does this have it? Yes, but it's not what I wanted. So I don't like the discussion questions. And then the other like little worksheets that it has, there's a lot of like vocabulary, but it gives your kids like 10 vocabulary words, but it's like all on them to like research them. It doesn't teach them the words. It kind of just asks them and expects them to know. So our very first assignment before we even read the book was, okay, find this vocabulary word that replaces the underlined word. Well, they don't know what some of these words mean. So I guess I was just kind of like, you can't just throw these words at them without explaining it to them. And we haven't even read the book yet. So that was kind of another thing. I don't really like the extra things in here either, besides the discussion questions, which those weren't one of my requirements. I could give or take if it had extra things. The other requirement I had is I wanted it to give some sort of like kind of reading schedule or like reading plan. Like, and Moving Beyond the Page, it would tell you like what chapters to read for this lesson, and then these are the questions that go with it. I thought that that's how, I mean, that is how this is set up. So I'm lying. So it has things like before you read or after you read, and it tells you what chapters. So the way that this is set up, it's every 2 chapters there's like worksheets for it. Well, these chapters are freaking long. So we would have to space out the reading. So what I was doing is I was having my kids read one chapter together, and then they would do one chapter independently on their own, and then we'd do the worksheets the corresponding day. But I feel like they should have just broken it up a little bit better. Like one chapter at a time would have been a little bit easier to manage. The chapters are like 10 pages each. That doesn't, I don't know if it doesn't seem like a lot, but it's taking us at like 15 to 20 minutes to get through one chapter of reading. So it's just kind of a lot, I think. And it's more maybe on the book itself, right? So like the book Matilda, let's talk about that too. I think we are not enjoying this book. Well, I'm not enjoying this book to where it's kind of making the literature unit hard as well. I've seen the movie Matilda 100 times since I was a kid, probably. My kids have seen the movie. I believe they may have seen the new adaptation on Netflix. I'm not sure. I've never read the book. I have read one other book by Roald Dahl, and that is James and the Giant Peach. And I didn't love that book. Here's the thing. I like the stories. I like the general story, right? Like I like the general story of James and the Giant Peach. I like the general story of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. I like the general story of Matilda, but I do not like his writing, and I don't like his writing for kids. So I think that's another thing I'm struggling with. Like, it's not that I think it's too advanced for my kids. It's just like doesn't pertain to them. And like the things he talks about, I'm just like, whoa, like you are just, I don't know. It's like the whole first chapter of this book is talking about how parents think that their kids are the best. Like how parents, like when you're entering your kids into school, you're like, oh my gosh, they're so smart, they're so advanced. And how he's saying that that's never true. Like parents think too highly of their kids. There's a whole chapter on that. And it's like, well, like, yeah, but like, first of all, like, why even say it? And then second of all, what does it even have to do with the book? I mean, I get it at the end. It's like, well, and then there's even parents who think their kids aren't smart at all, and they are the smartest kids in the class. And it's like we know Matilda has crappy parents, right? Let's just leave it at that. Let's not like bring up other parents. So whole first chapter, I was just like, what in the world is going on? And yeah, I just feel like the writing style, I don't know. I'm not loving it, but my kids like it. And so that's kind of what's hard is they picked this. I said, here's all of our books we're going to read this year. Here's all of our literature guides. What do you guys want to read first? And they picked it. So I've asked them now 3 or 4 times, are you sure you guys are enjoying this? Are you sure you want to keep reading it? And they keep saying yes. So that I'm not going to stop them. I don't think there's anything like highly inappropriate that they shouldn't be reading or that we can't talk about. And so they're continuing to read it. They're about halfway through now. So we probably have like 2 more weeks before we finish it. So we're going to finish the book, but we are not going to finish this literature guide. I just don't like it. I don't like the questions. I don't like the activities. I'm just not meshing with this literature guide, and I've used enough curriculum, been around enough curriculum to know if something's gonna work or not, and this one unfortunately was a fail, and we will not ever use a classroom complete press literature kit. And I'm very sad because like I said, this was my favorite one. When I like just scrolled through them all or like flipped through them all when they all arrived, this was the one I had my hopes high for, and I do not like it. But that doesn't mean it won't work for you. So again, there's over like 100 different literature guides on all different books. I like the font, how big it is. You can make copies of it. So there's normally like a couple discussion questions. There's vocabulary, there's true and false. There's like order the events that things happened in. There's complete the sentence. There's crossword puzzles. There's more like complete the sentence with vocabulary, true or false, the order of events. So it looks like it kind of rotates through different activities. Towards the end, it has some kind of like writing tasks. So this one would be for chapters 1 through 4. You would do some anagrams. So it would say what an anagram is, and then to do like a little writing activity. And then for chapters 5 through 8, you're going to do a limerick poem. It gives them some examples, and then you need to research and create those. So there's that. There is an overall comprehension quiz at the end, and then there is an answer key. for all of the assignments as well. There are also some kind of some different like charts and graphs that are, it's weird that some stuff is in color and some stuff isn't. There's like all the vocabulary words, but it's just the words. It doesn't give you like any like definitions or anything to do. Graphic organizers, that's what I was looking for. So it has like the different graphic organizers. It's based on Bloom's taxonomy for reading comprehension. I don't even know what that is. It does give you a summary of the story. So I will say, like, I liked this. It tells you the summary, it gives you suggested reading, the vocabulary. Like, it does set it up for like a teacher very well. But as soon as we got into it, I was just like, eh. Okay, I just got to read you guys one of the questions. So this is after chapters 1 and chapters 2. Investigate. Matilda's dad says that brilliant fellow who discovered penicillin cried "Eureka!" but he was wrong. Sir Alexander Fleming discovered penicillin in 1929 and he never uttered the word eureka. So basically they're saying the dad said something in the story that was incorrect, which I don't really like either because that's confusing from the way the story was written. And so now it's saying, however, there was another scientist who uttered this word. Who was it and why did he make this sound? My kids stared at me like I was crazy because I don't know. And I guess, yes, you should like want to investigate and learn, but we're not learning about somebody else. I didn't even know the answer to that. And so it's, who is it? It's the ancient Greek scholar Archimedes. When he stepped into the bath and noticed that the water level rose, he yelled, "Eureka." What does that have to do with Matilda? Like, I don't know. And again, I could just be like, I've gotten to a point in our homeschool that something either works or it doesn't. And I know if it's going to work or if it's not. And I just know it's not going to work. So it's like, then just, it kind of annoys me at that point. But who am I to say this wouldn't work fabulous in your homeschool? So we have our first fail. Number 1 out of 8 of our literature guides, Matilda is not making the list, not making the cut. And so we're going to finish the book 2 more weeks, not finish the literature guide, and then we're going to move on to our next literature guide. So that is the review I have for you guys of this literature guide. If you've used these before and I'm just like completely off base, please leave that down below in the comments. I love hearing your guys' opinions. If you have literature guides you guys recommend, leave those down below. I'll let you know if one of those is on my list. I think I have stuff from like Memoria Press. I have a couple things from Teacher Pay Teacher. I don't know why I can't think of them all, but there's 7 more that I'm going to review. So over the next few months, you'll be seeing all of those reviews. Thanks so much for watching today's video, guys. I hope you all have a wonderful day and we'll chat soon. Bye.